once again. This time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw.
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 Monday Night Live with Mama Said.
We are here. We are in looking good and in full effect.
The Cornbread Nation showing up. I'm going to hopefully show out.
We already got 3 folks in here. Look at her.
I know.
Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing? Y'all pop on in here. Shoot us up a message there.
Yeah. I hope you had a great Monday. Everybody just loves Monday, right? But hopefully you had a good one. Hopefully it went really well for you. And
it's over now.
And you're in the evening time and you get to come visit with the gang here. Rob, I think off the top, we did this morning, but again, I think I think we should ask for people to remember our crew member, Chris, in their prayers. He's in the hospital and, people do care about us and we're thankful for that. And, we've been missing him and he's just got some stuff going on. Looks like going to be a little surgery coming up. Remember him in your prayers. We would really appreciate it. He's a fine fella, been through a lot. He's worked so hard for a great salary of $0. Bless his heart. And he's loved every minute of it. And, we just gotten everything rolling in the same direction. And all of a sudden, one member of the crew is down and out right now. So we're thinking about him. Cook had some problems there for a while. We couldn't hardly get him in. He was having problems. I think his mom and now Chris. So let's remember Chris in prayer.
Yes. All right, we'll go ahead and say one real quick for everybody. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you give us, and we thank you for keeping an eye on us and sending Spirit to keep us straight. We ask you to be with Chris and his wife and the rest of his family as he's going through these struggles. We ask you to give the doctors wisdom, patience, and understanding, and we ask that your will be done in all this and in all things. And we ask these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen and amen. God bless you, Chris. We love you.
Yes, we do.
He'll be back in the battle soon. He's in a battle, but different kind of battle. But he'll make it through. He's got the good Lord, got a lot of people praying, got a good, loving family. It's going to be okay.
He's still ugly, though.
By the way, I noticed you got on there, Robert, back in Georgia, and is looking good. Oh, is that a result of the Florida trip? Is the looking good the result of going to the beach and getting on the water and all that good stuff, or you're saying looking good was already looking good, looking better? I'm trying to figure out this statement you've got under your.
Dude, let me just explain this to you.
Okay,
as long as you're
explain it to me.
Beside me, I'm looking good. That wasn't very nice.
No.
Florida does make people pretty. I will say that.
Yeah, you better watch out. You're being watched tonight. Everything you can and you say can and will be used against you, and you've just been called out.
What? What do you mean I can't talk about bad about the sick? I didn't talk bad about him. The truth is never wrong. You can't help it.
Well, I'm not saying that's truth, but you can't speak truth always because sometimes, it might not be the right thing.
Got like the right thing to say.
It's like when your wife says, "Does this dress look good on me?" Do you tell the absolute truth or do you kind of give a political answer, but don't answer that.
You're just trying to get me in trouble, is what you're trying to do. You're trying
Well,
to get me an
yeah,
answer. There's no right way to answer that. Because if it doesn't look nice on her and you tell her that, and she's going to know, and she's going to say you lied to her, you just made something up. And if it does look good on her, and you tell her it does, then she's going to be like, no, it don't look right, and she's going to go change anyway. So there's no right answer here, okay? Just for the record, and nothing that's not going to get me killed or that wouldn't get me killed. So I'm just going to let this go.
she's all ears. She's waiting.
She just told me
Yeah.
to be nice too. I'm always nice. I'm one of the nicest people I know. Look, it's been my goal in life to go around and be kind and courteous to one and all, to make everybody's day a little bit brighter for having run into me.
That was the goal.
Yes.
Didn't always succeed, but that was the goal. Good goal. I like the
Yeah.
goal. It didn't, and I'm a witness to that. It didn't always go as the goal. Didn't always deliver.
Try. I get a little better every day.
But you do try.
Yes.
I will say that you do try. Mama said. Well, Mama said a lot of things. This is one of our very favorite programs we do, and will always be with us. And we're always thinking of new things that Mama said. Last week, we it's getting deep. Last week, we went tender. I mean, we said, Mama said, I love you. Well, we're going to go completely the other way, or maybe not completely, but pretty close the other way with something that Mama said. What did Mama say, Rob?
I'm fixing to snatch a knot in your butt.
Or tail.
Maybe your mama said tail.
Well, yeah, and there might be some other words in there, but I did hear tail, and that sounds. I mean, if you just think about that for a second, we never had it really explained to us what that meant, but we just
We
knew.
didn't have to.
We didn't have to,
We
but it
knew.
sounds. It sounds violent. It sounds painful.
It
A knot in your tail.
It was painful. When they got you at that hickory real good, and you was rubbing your hiney afterwards, and you could feel the knots where that thing hit, that's what was fixing to happen to you.
Oh yeah.
And it was generally your fault.
And it didn't take but one time to know you didn't want it again.
Well, usually, yeah.
So that was one of those sayings. That was one of those sayings. Either you went there really rough, like you really got you pushed it beyond the line in the sand really hard, or she had already said something to you and you didn't listen. So this was, now you've went too far, and Mama has said, I'm gonna jerk a knot in your tail, boy.
Jerk or snatch. Either
Well,
way, it's bad.
I think probably it was said a bunch of different ways, depending on how Mama was mad was that at that time and how she was thinking about it. And if she was really mad, she probably, if you had some siblings, she probably went through all their names before she got to yours, which made her mad anyway, even madder, because she called all the other kids out, and she keep having to think, and it wasn't that one, it wasn't that one, it wasn't that one, and it got to you, and all the kids are paying attention now, but it wasn't them, and it was, unfortunately, it's all leveled at you now, and it's kind of your fault that she had to call it. And then Robert probably said, well, I'm not my sister, and I'm not my brother, I'm not this, I'm Robert. And that just really brought the justice down. the day of the Lord, we might call it. Now, the question would be, did Mama ever have to really do that? Or was that just something that was a precursor to knowing that you're going to straighten up, or did mama have to go ahead? Were there times that both those things occurred? You listened or you didn't listen, and the leash was pretty close. You didn't have much wiggle room here. We were talking about this at church yesterday about wiggle room, and there's no wiggle room. And she did what she said she was going to do.
Look, if my mama ever had to say it, it's like I was going to feel it. If mama said it, it was happening. I done pushed the envelope too far. There was no more warnings. That was it.
There's a video that's been floating around social media in the last few weeks. I've seen it pop up a number of times, and it's two mamas, and they're at a camp. They're at camping or something, and the kids, 2 or 3 kids, or probably 2 kids, just one for maybe there's 3, I don't know. And they're all out on this tree that's fallen, and it's out over the water. And what the first mama comes up and says, "Hey, y'all get off the tree or the log or whatever. Y'all get down. We don't want you to get hurt." And before she can even get through with that, because that kind of talk, hey, because I never heard it like that either. Hey, get down. This other mama steps forward, and it's like Hades has opened up, and she's throwing all kind of words. We'll just say that, but the kids listen.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Got another prayer request here. You got it. We're praying for him. Wow. My goodness.
Yeah.
We're just having all kinds of crew issues. Wow. So sorry to hear that.
We're going to have to check on him too.
My goodness.
Cook, turn the volume up. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. Dear Heavenly Father, we're coming to you now, and we have another member of our family here, Cook. It's had a bad fall last night. It's in a lot of pain. We ask you to step in, take that pain away, help him get well soon, be with his family, be with him, give him comfort, and speedy recovery so he can get back on here with us.
Amen.
And
yes.
We ask these things in Jesus' precious name, David.
Amen. Father, look over our family here, those that are listening in, all the folks that have sent us prayer requests. We've had a number have come in. Now we have these 2 that have came to us today, and we just ask you, Father, to minister in a mighty way, the great physician, placing hands upon these men and the other situations that we know about. We've had some serious ones come in today from different states and different situations. Father, we're praying for a great healing tonight for all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Wow. Just tough to see people go have pain. I'm going to tell you what, when you get older and you're a big old boy like me, it's not fun to fall. Falling's hard anyway. Gravity takes over and the earth doesn't move, and it hurts. And if you're falling on stuff, it hurts even worse,
I kind of think that all those years of wrestling and learning how to fall has prepared me for epilepsy. I don't know if it has or not.
Well, maybe. We'll
see.
You learn how to fall. Good Lord gave you a real hard head. That's got to help too.
Are you calling me hard-headed?
I didn't say it like that. I just said you have a hard head.
My mama called me hard-headed a time or two, and it was, "You hard-headed thing, I'm fixing to snatch a knot."
That's right. That's right.
It seems like there was a preacher. Oh,
man, she's slinging. Fire tonight, baby.
She missed me this weekend.
She missed throwing them darts. I love it.
But Mama always had a precursor to the "I'm going to snatch a knot in you," and it was always something along that lines. "Well, you stubborn thing, why have you got to be so hard-headed? I'm going to snatch a knot right in your backside. Or when I get done with you, you won't even think about doing that again."
You know what's great about these sayings that she said too is if when you got her fired up, if there were, I was thinking about that video, if there were other kids that are around whose mamas was like that, hey baby, don't do that. You know, you've seen them in the store, right?
Yeah.
The kids just slapping at mama, telling her off, doing whatever they want to do, and this well, so-called mama's going, stop that, be nice, little Johnny. I'll get you 3 toys if you'll just stop doing that. And then
Oh,
there was my mama, and then there was, and if another kid was around who had never heard that before, they would stop dead in their tracks and wonder what in the world was going on because they never heard that
you're not
before.
going to get toys for behaving?
We love you too, Miss Candy, and we're glad nothing's broken. Bless his heart, and wow, I'm telling you, that falling is not good.
No, it's not. Thank you for letting us know what's going on there, Candy. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I talked to him earlier today. He didn't say nothing. Talking about being hard headed, not telling me anything. He was more worried about Chris. So we love y'all. It's a family here. It's the Cornbread Nation, baby, and we're praying for folks. And you know, I just hate to hear that. Wow.
All right, Dave. You better take extra good care of yourself, and I'm going to take extra good care of myself. We're dropping like flies.
I'm telling you what, there'll be 2 empty chairs sitting here, and somebody had to man the controls, or we'll be in a hospital bed with cameras pointing down with a microphone taped to the side of the bedpost or something. As we, you're right, he doesn't complain. He really hardly ever complains. He doesn't. He just goes through life. He worries about others. Because you know what's going to happen if we don't stay healthy and all 4 of us go down for some reason, the ladies are going to come up here and take over and have all kinds of fun talking about us.
Oh my gosh. Your wife will be on one side, my wife on the other.
And we might not want some of that stuff told. For the love of God, we have to stay healthy.
Oh dear Lord, please don't let that. Lord, we'll be good. We're sorry. We are sorry, God. We didn't mean to do that.
You think you're sick with whatever, then all of a sudden you're hearing about what's going on. You're like, hey.
And when you get out of that bed and you get back home, you better pick them underwear up off the floor.
Oh man. No, we can't have that.
No. Ooh.
Or even worse, Josh will get on here.
Lynn
would go along for the good laugh, but Josh would get on here and pay back. That's what Josh would do.
Oh yeah,
about that bacon.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Yeah, how's that bacon now? Been worth a piece of bacon for your baby boy, wouldn't it? Yeah, put that toilet seat down. Yeah."
Oh my goodness!
I'm pretty good about putting the toilet seat down, I think.
And how does she know that the cats don't raise it back up? I mean, cats can be cats. I mean, how do we know?
Look. You know, Josh on here. Josh would absolutely cook you right under the bus.
I know. I brought him up for like 3-4 minutes, and he's up here, throwing flames at me.
Yeah. He ain't one of us. He wouldn't give me no bacon. No comment. What? About me being good? I think I'm pretty good lady to put the toilet seat down. I leave it up just off enough to keep you on your toes.
I wonder who was the first guy who was ever said to, and he didn't know it, but he started something that has been said millions upon millions of times, and he was the first guy, but yeah, he didn't know that.
Oh, I'm quite sure it was Adam. They had him a little cloth that they put over the hole there, and he forgot to put the cloth back over the hole, so it wouldn't be cold to sit on.
Maybe.
And Eve said, "Did you put the cloth? Make sure you put the cloth back down over." I can see it.
Let's divert just for a second. There we get back to Mama said just a minute. It made me think of, the Romans are really the creators of so many things that we have today, whether it was a water system or whatever. But their sanitation, we do have.
Whoever that was.
Yeah, whoever. So they had the communal, it was open, and and that's kind of where, we really still have those public restrooms where everybody's in a restroom, but they didn't have stalls. I mean, they just that, they were one for men, one for women, but I think, but they had a watering system that came through and vice versa. But, it can be intimidating for some people to go into a public restroom. They don't like that, they.
I was in chariot races today.
Yeah.
I can't believe he won. And I've had an epiphany.
Oh Lord.
I know why it's so hard for women folk to decide where to go eat.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Yeah. Because the first time a woman decided where to go eat, things have gone downhill for us ever since. And that was Eve.
Oh boy. We got all these ladies in the chat here tonight, man. You are like, poking the bear, man. I mean,
I'm just saying. I mean, she picked what they were going to eat, and just saying.
I mean, some nights you got mostly men. Now we got all these, all the ladies, and you better be careful.
I'm waiting to see if I hear that door open in there, if I know if I need to duck or not. I can quack real quick. She's not saying nothing either. That's kind of scary. Candy ain't saying nothing either. That's kind of scary. If Josh was in here, he'd agree with me.
Well, I don't know. You never know with Josh. You really don't know. Sometimes I can count on him. Sometimes he bails out, and I'm like, come on, man.
Well, that might be why he didn't get no bacon.
It might be. It just might be.
Fell out on me. Throw you under the bus. Like throw me under the bus. I wouldn't give him no bacon either.
He ain't here. I'm throwing him under the bus. He's the world's worst about throwing wherever he gets to, wherever his clothes go off. That's where they lay. I get on him all the time. I know it drives him crazy, but he drives me crazy.
Well,
however far he gets, that's it.
Does he at least make it to his room or the bathroom?
No, he just wherever, Never know with Josh.
Oh my goodness.
Josh is a mountain man of all mountain men. He Josh is the guy that needs the cabin on the side of the hill. You remember that, like in what was it, Hoosiers? The guy lived on the side of the hill, in the little cabin. That's Josh. That's Josh. He'd love it. He don't care. He just doesn't care.
Wow.
Jeremy, no way. Jeremy couldn't handle the wildlife. It would scare him. Coco's got him punked out. I mean, if he comes in, that dog barks, Jeremy's jumping.
What?
He is scared of that dog. It cracks me up all the time. I said, that dog's got your number, man.
It's just a little bitty dog.
Oh, but she barks big and growls, and she never does nothing. She just acts like she's going to. He comes in the house, and he's kind of looking for the dog. It's the funniest thing. She won't see him or hear him, and he'll think he's in the clear. And next thing you know, that dog will come out, and he'll jump on the floor.
Josh would be doing that.
Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy, not Josh. Josh don't care. She likes Josh because Josh don't. He just tells her, "Stop that, go in there." Oh man, they're two different boys. But I remember talking about mama, and I know my mama said that and probably said it to me, but I remember her really getting on the boys, and she's gotten older, and they would get on her nerves so bad sometimes, and she'd get fired up. That Irish would come out, and she would tell them something like that: "If y'all don't quit running out of this house, I'm gonna jerk a nut in your tail," or something like that. They loved her with all the love they had to give, but I'm gonna tell you, they were boys. They were all boys, and they about drove her crazy sometimes. But she loved them boys.
I really thought that you were going to say, I didn't hear that very often to me, but boy, she told that on my sisters a bunch.
Really?
That's where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to
No,
say that she told your sisters that more than she told you.
no, no. She didn't say it a lot or anything like that. It was
No.
just, it was just that they would get on her nerves.
Did your sisters ever do anything and then blame it on you and then she say that to you?
Oh no, I was so much older.
Okay.
That dog would not hunt. No, but Tammy and Heather had their issues. Tammy jokes about that. She said, "I was so mean to you." Tammy's a middle child, so she
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So she was, but they, them two love each other. I won't tell you, but but no, they Tammy had, when the youngest one comes along and you're the middle child or whatever, or you're not the baby anymore, and there's always a little bit of that sibling
Yeah.
stuff going on with that. Um, I will tell you that when she got, uh, was in the nursing home, she loved to see us come through the door, absolutely. But the ones that she rolled out the red carpet with her eyes and everything else for was them grandsons. And then she lived long enough to see the first great grandchild, and that was even more so. Oh my goodness, and she just lit up, you know. So yeah.
Now, did anybody else's mama do this to the grandbabies? My mama was a little bit ornery. Okay. And anytime we went out to eat and the baby was there, she'd order sweet tea with lemon. And the baby be reaching for everything and be reaching for that lemon, and Mama just let her have it.
Well, yeah.
And Mama just died laughing because they wouldn't stop doing it, licking the lemon. So see, she likes it. No. Did anybody else's mama do that, or is it just mine?
Oh, I'm sure they did. They're not commenting now. They may be plotting. You better watch out, Rob.
No, I think maybe a little fearful, maybe. You know.
So Mama said, "I'm going to jerk a knot in your tail," and sometimes she would actually do that. Although that was could be described in different ways, but that meant you were in a lot of trouble and you were fixing to be in pain if you didn't straighten up, and your tail was the center of attention for the wrath that was to come.
Now,
And
it seems like the posterior was the direct, it carried a lot of mama's interest looking back on it, Hurry your butt up, slow your butt down, get your butt up. I'm going to snatch a knot in your butt. What is it about mamas and butts?
well, it's really simple, Rob. It's really simple. Just think about when they're born. What does them old doctors do? I mean, they just laid it right out there. Spank that little honey, get them to cry. And from then on, we never stopped.
Well, it might be the shortest distance to a boy's brain.
Now,
That
Candy's
could have something to do with it.
Candy's comment there, yeah,
Yeah.
not literal, but That's strong.
I can
You
listen.
are in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, that's a. Mm. What was it? I'm not a huge Bill Cosby fan. What was it? He did a special years ago, and he said, told his son, says, "You're gonna die. I'm gonna kill you, and we don't care. We'll make another one look just like you." Yeah, you know. mm. But Mama's had a lot of focus on our butts,
Oh yeah.
and I'm really thinking that there was some issue there. You know, and she had to wipe it enough when we were babies. Now she's going to beat it back into us. I don't know. And or is it the shortest distance to the brain? Is it the toughest part of the human anatomy? I know it's the largest muscles, but come on. Safest place to do the whacking, I guess, or the not snatching.
Well, teachers sure did like it. I mean, they had them paddles in our day, and they look like walking tall Buford Pusser coming down the hall with that big paddle. And a lot of times they were gym teachers, and they had them massive forearms, and they just and wrist. They got that action going on. They just lift you off the ground. I mean, yeah,
I think we need to go back to some of that.
there's a lot of people that believe that,
Yeah.
but I've known people that's went to the school and said, "You have my permission to whip their little butt if they don't mind." But they would say as well, we can't do that. We have processes, and we can't do that, and other parents don't want it, and we get in trouble, and da 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 da. They didn't ask for our permission; they just did it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember a note coming home going, "Can we whip David's tail if he doesn't behave?" That was they never asked; they just did it.
You just got your tail whipped, and then they just sent you back with a note saying yes, absolutely. But here's my thing. If they're saying that the teachers can't carry a sidearm or something like that to defend the students with. If they can't have a gun, then no. If they can't have a paddle, then no. You can't. If you can't trust them with a paddle, you can't trust them with a gun. Just saying. If they won't even let them carry a piece of wood to discipline the child with, you can't trust them with a gun.
I think I've said it before, but I come from a pretty tough neighborhood back in the day, and I remember my dad saying to my best friend, he was telling him to stop what he was doing, and he thought it'd be cute to stand up to my dad, and he said, "You can't tell me what to do." And he said, "I just did, son. Don't do it again." He said, "You're not my daddy." He said, "I'll tell my daddy." He said, "Good, good. Go get your daddy and tell him I want to see him. And after I get through whipping him for raising a brat like you, then I'm going to spank you. I'm going to give you a spanking. So go get your daddy, please." And he backed off. And you know what? My daddy wasn't playing. He said, I will whip your daddy for raising a brat like you. He deserves it." And then who's going to stop me? I'm coming after you. And he said, "I'm just kidding, Mr. Cordell." He said, "I'm not. Don't do it again, boy." He said, "I love you, but don't do it." Hey, no playing back in them days, man.
No. Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Did you ever hear your sister get into it and your mama say, "Don't make me come get y'all both"?
Y'all both as in who?
The sisters.
Oh, both the sisters? I don't know if I heard it exactly like that. I think I don't, I think there, I don't know that she ever said it, but definitely on my dad's understanding of justice was if you're there, you're guilty. So everybody could get lit up. So you couldn't use the excuse, "I was just watching." If you're there and you didn't remove yourself or aim to stop it or whatever, you just all got lit up. I mean, everybody got it. I mean, that's just the way they did in my family. I mean, they would line, you'd be at a family reunion, they'd line them all up. Let's go. I saw it. I
Um,
never had it done because I didn't hang around stuff like that. I knew better.
So what
You
you were
know,
saying is you tucked and run.
no, what happened is when something was going on, I could see my daddy's face in my brain.
Yeah.
And I could hear him saying, "Boy, if something's going on, you better come and tell me. Because if I have to come investigate it, then I'm going to spank you just for not coming and telling me something's going on." And so whenever something would happen, I would go tell him, they're fighting over here, or whatever. You call it what you want, Dad. He just wasn't playing. I'd rather have the others mad at me as to have him laying it. I didn't get a lot of spankings. I was, and most of my cousins didn't because they knew better. It wasn't like a continual thing, but I have seen it.
Dude, with friends I had, ain't no way I'd have told my daddy or told anybody. I'd have went to the other side. I'd have might would have got away from it. I would have told on them because you know that old saying, snitches get stitches.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I don't know. Uh,
this was in the family. I'm talking about inside the family
oh,
structure of. I'm not talking about
well, see, that's hard for me to relate to because I've got my sister, but she's my stepsister, and we kind of when I was young, it was just me. I don't have that whole family dynamic thing like that with the siblings.
Yeah.
So, uh, but
But see, you gotta understand. A lot of families back then, it didn't matter whose kid it was; they'd just light you up because
I've been lit up
they just
before
did that.
by
I
my friend's
mean,
parents or
your
whatever.
uncle might be doing it. Your aunt, your uncle, the other uncle. I mean, they just would. It stopped after a while. I mean, because there were some disagreements about that, but there were times that I saw them. I saw them line them up. I was a good kid. I didn't get in trouble. Just maybe 4 or 5 times. My whole.
Huh.
I feared my daddy. I didn't want to see that belt come off or that hand. He had really strong hands,
Yeah.
and I knew better. I knew better.
I was a pretty good kid too. I didn't get too many whoopings. Hey, kitty cat,
My
we're
dad
gonna
worked a
change,
lot.
huh?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna change the subject here real quick because even the cat stood up on that one. Like even the cat knows better. All right. Well, let's. There was another thought.
You just muted yourself.
It kind of goes along with all this. Why would Mama snatch a knot in our backside?
To keep you from becoming a brat.
Okay.
I don't know if it worked.
Oh well, it obviously worked on me. But like, was it done out of anger?
It could be.
Yeah, I think I saw a time or two where I made Mama angry enough to do that.
It could be. And you
But
really got the
it's like
spanking
that.
because you made her mad enough to do that more than what you did, most likely. Because she didn't. My mama didn't like getting mad like that. She'd light you up just for making her get that mad.
Yeah, and my mom was short too, so she kind of had that short person syndrome too.
I had a cousin
And
come see me once, and I think I told you this, and he wasn't minded. I mean, he was, and Dad lit him up. I mean, lit him up. He was acting right by the time he left. But my mama said, my dad didn't know it. She said, he has heart problems. And my dad was mad. He's like, somebody should have told me. I would have went and whipped his daddy for raising him like. but but when adults were out of the room, he said, as he was rubbing his rear end, he said, "You get like this all the time?" I said, "Are you kidding me? I know better." He said, "You should have warned me." I said, "I tried to tell you. You wouldn't listen." I said, "Just being a brat." He said, "I won't do that again." He was a couple of 3 years younger than me. I was like,
yeah,
"You're messing up." It's coming. Like I said, there's one thing my dad could put up with a lot. He would, and I don't want to sound like that he just was spanking all the time. He wouldn't. But I'm gonna tell you what, there was one thing my dad could not stand. It would set him off quicker than anything in the world, and that was back talk.
Yeah.
If you back talk my dad, he saw that as extreme disrespect. I mean, in his view, you didn't even you just obeyed. You didn't question it. But there was going to be no discussion, no debate, no. And if I'm not, so when I say in back talk to him, that was back talk. If you said we need to have a conference about this, my dad said there ain't no conference. That's how that everybody wants a meeting now, a conference, negotiation. No, dad said no. There's if you say one more word, or if you even start to say the word, you're going to get speaking to him. That's just his way. I'm sure that's the way he was probably raised to a degree. And
let me say hi to Bill Powell there. Hey, Bill, what you doing, Bubba? So you just come on in here and chat.
Yeah, it's good to see you checking in there, brother. I bet old Mr. Powell, I bet he knows a thing or two about getting lit up by mom and dad.
Oh no, I bet Bill was just as easy going and never got no trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Michelle.
You are very, very welcome.
You're more than welcome, sweetie. We hope he's doing better. You tell him, I know he's got a lot on his plate, but if he gets his eyes open, you tell him we love him and we're thinking about him.
And we don't just pray for him; we pray for you too.
Yes.
Pray for your home and both of you and all your family.
Absolutely.
We're focusing prayers right now for him, but thank you for updating us and let our brother know help is on the way because we done called in the heavy artillery. Yeah. We done enlisted all of heaven to come into this scene and start making some changes. We can't have this. I mean, we're dropping like flies, and there's not enough flies that we can drop too much.
No. If you've got that in there where he can see and hear us there, yeah, you tell him we have to. We'll come on up there and we'll get him straightened out. Get the doctors, if they won't get on him, we'll get on him. Get some jumper cables and we can get him fixed right up.
That's right.
But no, we love Chris and we want him to get better soon. We pick a little bit, but So how are you doing, by the way, as long as you're in here? Oh, you just got back. Okay. Well, you said he was on some medication earlier. I'm not going to call him. If he wants to talk, he's got my number. I know. I don't want to interrupt him and disturb him. Good, but tired.
Hospitals are where you go when you're visiting that all time stops and you're completely wore out by the time you leave. I mean, it doesn't matter how good the visit is. Time stops in hospitals. You lose all sense of time and you're just completely worn out making that journey back and forth. It's amazing how that does. And if you've ever had someone in extended ICU care, MICU or something like that, and you're going up, back several times a day for weeks on end, that will drain you more than you could ever imagine. It's just amazing.
Michelle, sweetie, go get you some rest. We love y'all and keep us updated if you can, okay?
Absolutely.
Nothing where you have facts in the hospital. And I tell you what, Chris, he had, we love you too. Get to feeling much better, okay? I'm going to get that right there. I'm going to store those. I like those. Uh, you know, Chris had rougher surgery than I did, after I did, and so he's still kind of recovering. And hopefully he's not going to have another one. Looks like he's going to, but that's two major surgeries in a year. That's a lot on anybody.
It is.
So
It's very tough.
God's hands in on that.
Amen.
Mama also said, "You better be really sick."
Oh yeah.
Chris is really sick, so I mean, let's you know, keep him in your prayers. I need everybody to help pray on that one, because that's something to think about. I mean, two major surgeries within a year, that's a lot. So
Yeah, that's hard, and but pain is worse.
yes,
So
it is. So all
got
right,
it.
well, I'll tell you what. Let's hit this commercial real quick.
All right.
Let's say hi to our family over at ARA, and we'll be right back.
Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, one of the blessed things we've been able to do is partner with the wonderful people at Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. These folks are a no-kill shelter in Donaldsonville, Georgia. You see the contact info on the screen. And these folks would love to have you come adopt a dog or a cat. They have folks that come from all over the United States, not just the state of Georgia. They're great folks. It's been a wonderful partnership between Southern Fried Podcast and ARA. And we've been blessed to meet some of the folks that have adopted animals from ARA. Also, we've been able to encourage people to donate and volunteer. They encourage volunteers that are in the area, and they're just wonderful people. We'd love for you to contact them, meet them too, go on their website, see some of the animals, and we know you'll want to partner with them too by taking a dog or a cat to their forever home. Join with us, the Southern Fried Podcast, in support of this great work of the Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. We know you'll be happy you did. I know we are. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. One of the favorite things that we do is sit out on the front porch with a glass of sweet tea and just talk about whatever. That's what you do on the front porch. Wave at the neighbors as they go by, or even a stranger. We're friendly people, and we like to just talk about whatever. You never know what Rob and Dave are going to talk about on the front porch, and sometimes Chris joins us, and then you really don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll laugh a little bit, we'll shock each other, and maybe, just maybe, you'll join in with us and chat with us on the front porch. Join us live for Front Porch Talking each Friday night at 7 p.m. That's your friends here at the Southern Fried Podcast. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. Please join us each Wednesday evening as we go live for Hump Day News, where we talk about a little bit of everything. We'll laugh a little bit. We'll tell you a little bit of sports news and other news that's going on. Each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., join us for the SFP Hump Day News live. You're midweek, making your way through another work week. Join us, and we'll try to make you laugh a little bit and keep your day a little brighter.
Howdy.
Yeah. I was thinking that Wednesday night program is wild when we get into some of those stories. Oh, my goodness. Cats and dogs and hippos and gators and everything else in between. Kangaroos. We've been talking about it all. Crazy, weird stuff on Wednesday night. And Friday night's the marathon night. We just go and go and go and have fun. So it's great.
And I do have a thought. I wasn't here for the Sunday night show. And this probably be more suited for the Sunday night show, but can I talk about it real quick?
Sure.
Okay. Why is it? And I'm not going to call nobody out, nothing like that. But it seems like in this country with our basically division in politics that both sides demand respect and to be heard. They demand it, but then won't give it. They got no time or patience to listen to the other side, but they demand that you respect their opinion. What's up with that?
Well, it's all about boxing you in, and by devaluing you and your opinion, that no matter what you have to say, if you're devalued and it means that nothing you say has value. So if you're labeled in a way that you're radical, or you have, some of the name calling is really rough. And if it's said often enough, then people start believing that. Then obviously nothing you say has value. So then that view, there's nothing worthwhile for you to say, and anything you would say would be not worth listening to. So that's what's going on in America. So that your voice is being taken away, and your very, maybe even very existence is an impediment to peace or to goodwill, or for a lot of things are thrown around nowadays like democracy and freedom without the true aspects of them being talked about. And so it's all about denigrating your opponent and putting them in a position to where they would think nobody would listen to you, and anything you had to say is a lie, or is harmful. It's very harmful. And so there are a lot of people that will follow that. So yeah.
Where do we get the arrogance to think our personal opinion matters more than someone else's? It used to be there was a certain amount of respect. Okay.
Sure.
That is gone. There is no respect. And these are lessons that Mama, and this is kind of where this ties in a little bit. Mama taught us respect. All right. Whether she snatched a knot in our butts or whatever, Mama taught us to respect other people, including ourselves. So now we just don't respect anybody. Does that come about from snatching knots in butts and stuff like that? Cutting a hickory?
No, I think
because we got to learn it again.
Well, it's always been there. It's never not been there. It's just that we tend to think in terms of currently it's worse than it's ever been. That's not really true. It's always been there because it comes from a source of, sin and greed and power and domination and all that stuff. But it's all sin. But if you go back and look at the politics, and we'll just use that as examples that we were talking about on Sunday night. If you look at politics in America, some people look back and think that all these men always were respectful and valued others' opinions, and that's not true. There was a lot of violence, and there was a lot of things that were said. But unfortunately, there were enough people that came together, and had a belief in prayer. Even if they didn't believe in God, they knew that prayer was important. But if you look at the Declaration, if you look at the Constitution and the arguments and battles that went over that, it was really ugly. You can look at some of the state houses I know in South Carolina, this would be in the late 1800s. There was a group of politicians that came into one of the it wasn't the state capitol, but it was one of the courthouses in an area. And I'm trying to remember the name of that town, but the officer's name I think was Butler. But anyway, he led a group of men on horseback with guns drawn and run their opponents out of the courthouse or wherever they were meeting at. And there are episodes like that in the state of Georgia. One of the counties is named after one of them. There were duels. And there were people died, and they would call the other out, and they would step off and shoot at each other. And there are a lot of instances of shouting down. And if you want to go across the seas where we came from, look at the House of Commons and all that, what goes on in England and how they shout each other down. So it's always been there. It's just that more attention is put on it nowadays because of all of the technology, and you have I mean, there was no C-SPAN, all those years ago. You had a lagging news, so a lot of times by the time people heard about it, it was already taken care of. We have instantaneous news on all of this at any moment. There are cameras trained on anything that's going on just to see if something's going to happen. So we hear about it more often, and plus people are on camera and they're all positioning to look good or try to be dominant on camera and to followers and whatever. And so there's more that is brought into that now, but it's always been there. It's a great point, but it's always been there. And, unholy men are always going to act unholy. I mean,
Okay.
if someone has a belief that if we really walk with Christ and we really believe in forgiveness and we really believe in listening to others and put an emphasis on being a good listener, if we look for ways to find a common ground, then the outcomes will usually be much better. But you have some people that won't ever play by those rules. And so in politics, you don't want to be dominated. So you end up, some people will end up lowering themselves to kind of get even or stay with those. I mean, look at one of the most famous movies, Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and it really showed the ugly side of politics. Well, they didn't just make that up. All those things were happening. The powerful media, rich people behind the scenes, sold out politicians, all of that was in that movie. Well, where'd they get the ideas? Well, they just looked at what was going on. Everybody knew that. And so, I mean, I get it. You're right. And it's just gotten worse. But it's always been there to some degree. Yeah.
Okay. So then let me say this then. If it means that we have instantaneous news, then how come when they get the story wrong, when they jump the gun or they start pushing, why isn't there instantaneous accountability in the news?
Well, in the news, they're always looking to bury certain stories. And so your apology will usually be, in the old print days, the apology would be buried to as close to the back as you could get it in a small, surrounded by things like legal notices or something nobody really wanted to look at, or most people didn't, because the effect was still there, even though you had to apologize. It was buried. They call that, burying it. And so they would seek to do that. Now, there has been times they've been forced to do it openly at the beginning of a broadcast or even in print because they were forced to do that. They're not happy about it, but the damage is so bad they have to. And in some cases, they lose their job. Absolutely.
Okay. So if somebody knowingly says something or takes a guess at it or gives their opinion on it and it's wrong, then it's wrong. It's misinformation. It's nobody, because they call it an opinion. And in their opinion, why is that news? Who gives a dab blame what somebody else thinks? Why can't we just get news and make up our own mind? Why do we have to have someone to tell us what to think? And then they tell us the wrong thing, and there's no accountability for it. You see where I'm getting?
Oh, I see it all, but there's a lot of points there that you're making, and that's a broad subject. But when a lot of it's orchestrated to evoke emotion or to sway someone or to plant those seeds of doubt or like I said, once you've got it out there, it's like being in a courtroom, and if the defense attorney or prosecutor one says something, the other one objects, and it's sustained, you might hear something like, the jury is to disregard that last statement, but you've already got it in their ears. So success is there. So they will push it to get that. And in some cases that has came back to hurt them. I mean, there's famous cases. I mean, look at Dan Rathers of CBS. It's well known. We're not making up anything. His source, now he blamed the source, but that false report on President Bush, and then that cost him. It cost him dearly in his career. He never got back to the status that he had. Or what's the guy, Peter Jennings, and some of the things he said openly that were just total fabrications, and it cost him as well. So they can go too far, and they can cost themselves. But unfortunately, if that person, even if there is an apology, even if there is the reprint or a come in the front, a lot of people will never see that. So it still has an effect, because somebody's going to walk away. A lot of people, and they're going to say, wow, this is truth. They never heard the fact check. They never heard the I'm sorry, or it was wrong and we shouldn't have reported that. They don't hear that part, and people go and report it, and as if it is fact. So it's really hard, as we were talking last night. It's I think Tommy it was that said you have to fact check the fact checkers, because is it really true or not? I mean, and it's really, how is it phrased? The phrasing of something, there can be a lot of truth in how something's phrased, but the overall positioning of it is wrong. It's wrong, but it's how they say it. And that's those things have been since time began for man, of how people craft things that they say to get their point across. And I've known people in my life that never say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They just won't do it. Even though you point out and they're totally wrong, you'll never get an I'm sorry. There are just some people like that. They won't do it. It's seen it to them as a sign of weakness. I'll never say I'm sorry. I'll never say I was wrong. They won't do it. There are people
in my life. Okay, well, I asked all those questions because, number one, I was curious with standing on that. And I want to make a point now. We've got this Mama Said. We present Mama Said every Monday night. And this goes for wives too. There's really, for a husband and a father, there's two people on this world that ain't going to lie to them. This is their mama and their wife. They're going to tell you like it is. At least if you've got a good one, they're going to tell you just what they think. If you ask your mama for her opinion, she's going to give it to you. Now, she'll tell you usually, but don't take my word for it. And your wife, if you're getting off track, hey, you better change your diet up a little bit there, heart attack man, or you better do this, you better do that. You might want to listen to them. But as far as politics go, they ain't in that. You can't believe a dabbling word you hear half the time, because it's got somebody's slant to it. Fact check everything. Man, that's where I'm going with that.
This coming Sunday night, I've already got a couple of stories that I want to cover, and one of them is quite telling, because we're going to look at the electoral map, and we're going to look at a lot of questions about polls. And I was looking at some things, and I found a poll that didn't have anything to do with it does have to do with the election to a degree, but it's not specifically about who's going to win or who's ahead. It's none of that, but it's quite telling, this poll that was conducted about how people believe, really, and it kind of comes back to what we're talking about here right now. What's truth, and do you care if it's truth as long as you win? It's quite telling. We're going to cover that Sunday night. It's really telling, and it's alarming.
Yeah.
And we're going to break that down and look at the demographics of that as far as ages and economic status and how that fell out along those lines. It's really interesting. That's going to be one of the things we cover Sunday night. So, hey, folks, listen in. It's a brand new program, and we had a lot of comments, and they were really good. I mean, there was a lot of great discussion. It is. I think it's good, and I really feel like we just should have done this leading to this election. And we're just trying to be fair and balanced, as some would say, in other things. But we want to give things that how people feel, and I think that's what we offer, is a place for people to come up and say how they feel about stuff. We don't all have to agree to 100%, and we may not, but people can have a platform to say, this is how I feel. And that's most humans have this desire and a need to be heard, and that's why one of the greatest skills in life is to be a good listener. My mom taught me that really, and I learned even more later from others. But my mom was a great listener, and if you will stop and listen to someone and let them, even if they're saying it in a very hard way, most people, there are some people out there that are they're just evil. But most people, most humans just need to vent it out. And once they get past that, they can calm down and you can have a nice discussion. And you can reason together. Again, it might not mean that you all agree on everything, but you can reason together. And the more we seek to understand each other, the more that we can reason together, the more that we can understand. And I said last night, even among conservatives and Christian conservatives, we're not going to agree on everything. And as much as people would like to say that even in what we would call the MAGA crowd, there are wide differences of opinion because there's a lot of different kinds of people that make it up. But the unifiers are those things that people find important because they want to live what we call the American dream. And so most of those things, through at least several of them, maybe 5, 6 things, just about everybody's going to agree to some level on. But when you start getting into some of them, you're going to see a breaking away, and people have varying opinions because they have that right. And so the people that are marketing and pollsters and all that stuff for these different parties, they know that exactly. And so they seek to divide and conquer. And this, unfortunately, we Americans sometimes fall for it. And we get caught up in, and a lot of people said, whenever there's something really big going on and we're really disagreeing and arguing, might want to pay attention to the back door and see what's going on. Because that is a time that a lot of things are kind of snuck in and people weren't paying attention because they were so passionate about what's up here in front of them and being talked about. And it's not that that's not important, but you got to really keep your head on a swivel and see what's going on. And these people are masters at it. I mean, absolutely masters at swaying, getting your attention. And hey, we know Satan is the father of, he's the father of lies.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the master at lying. And so he teaches others to lie. And he's also the master of deception. And so there are those that listen to him, obviously, and they're the masters of deception. Now, you'll notice I didn't put party with that, because you can find these everywhere.
Yes.
People that's deceptive and people that are manipulators, they come from all walks of life. Now, we may agree that it may come from one group more than another, but you'll find that everywhere. I see a lot of arguing going on right now in the conservative circles. It's really concerning. And I think some of it comes from because of the change that has happened. And really, it should have never been there. They should never, anybody on either side, neither party should say we got it in the bag. Really, they shouldn't. They should have worked. You should work that election till election day. And I'm not talking about the cheating and steals. I'm talking about signing, getting people registered to vote, all those things. But there's a lot of backfighting and infighting that's going on in both parties. And it's, I think whoever manages this the best and gets the undecideds to vote in both their ways, they're going to walk away with the election. That's my opinion.
Well, there's a story that came out today that has really drug my attention. And it was from, all of a sudden, we're getting our moral commentary from Hollywood, but Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
He made a comment, and he's talking to Bill Maher, but who has surprised me here lately. He's not sounded so much like a Democrat as he is, let's just get to the truth of the matter. I like that. I don't have a problem with it. I know he's a liberal, but it doesn't matter. He's speaking some truth here. And of course, Quentin Tarantino fired off this profanity-laced thing here. And I'm not going to speak it, but this is about effing winning, he said. It's a mad effing dash, and she is running it. She's not stopping to stumble, and I'm going to vote for her effing anyway. no matter what she says in the stupid effing interview. So don't effing poop up. He's saying it doesn't matter what she says. This is a big controversy. She hasn't talked to the media. She hasn't had an interview, nothing. She's done nothing to put her actual policies and what her policies will be out there. Now, she goes to her little rallies and stuff and gets snowball questions. Okay. Now, so it doesn't matter what her policies are. It doesn't matter what she might do to hurt this country. It doesn't matter what she does or says. All that matters is what party she is in. That is not the way this country should be run.
But that's where we are. And to his defense, he's speaking truth. And if we go back, and we could go back really all the way back, we could go back quite a few elections. And this is another part that kind of bothers me. There's so many people that are reporting on every little thing that is not done right, said wrong, all that. And it's all truth. You can see it. You can listen to it. You can see that. And you know what? Nobody's caring and nobody's listening outside of those circles, because what he said is absolute truth. She has their vote no matter what. No matter what she does, no matter what she says, no matter how messed up the messaging becomes. Only if they thought that she would lose would that story change. So if we're looking for any kind of support system from the media, major media, it's not going to happen. You could point it out to them all day long. They'll bury the story or they'll manipulate. In fact, if you will, I challenge people to do this. I know people don't like to watch certain medias, but this is important. The next time there's a major story like this, and it should be led off on every newscast as the lead story, the ones are going to cover it already, so ignore them and go to those sites, whether it's television or streaming or wherever, and see, or go and look at the print. What have they put on their Facebook or whatever it is, and see what they cover and what they don't cover. And that will tell you where we're at right now. He's speaking truth, and they all agree the same way, because the attitude is he, being Donald J. Trump, must be stopped no matter what.
Yeah, he went on to talk about that.
Yeah, they don't hide that.
Anything's okay as long as Donald Trump is not the president,
including cheating, and they're saying that. And you know what? Who's going to call it out? The ones that call it out don't get listened to anyway. This is where we're at. It's really a sad situation for America. There used to be times where you had to really watch your P's and Q's, and people would behave themselves to a large degree. Now they just say it like it is. They just tell you exactly how they feel or what their plan is. They don't hide it. So people that think there's these gotcha moments, that they see something in a video, or whether it was Joe stumbling down steps, or whatever the situation is, and people think, oh, now look, that's going to change some votes right there. No, it doesn't. It may, a few in the center, I say may, but we're so divided as a nation. I don't know how many sitting in the middle anymore. I don't know that anybody does. I guess maybe somebody's got a percentage they could go by, but those are all good points. And I think more and more people are waking up to that fact that no matter what you say, or no matter what someone says, it's according to who says it. Now, if a conservative says anything close to that, it's 24/7 news cycle to be covered from every angle you could get. They'll do documentaries on it, and everywhere you turn it'll be talked about. So that's the difference. Is it fair? No, but that's where we're at.
Well, here's the bottom line to me. You can't really and truly believe any of them, because it's got so much opinion in there.
Yeah.
So if you can't believe any of them, and the candidate won't speak, and I would dare say we're not going to see her at a debate. If she's not willing to speak, I don't think she's going to show up for no debate.
Well, I don't know. We didn't think that Joe would either. Of course, it didn't go well, but he did.
Yeah, that's
So-
why she's not going to do it. They can't afford another fiasco like that. I bet she doesn't show up for a debate. So
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
So how are we supposed to form an opinion? There's no way to.
Well, and let me just say this, and on debates, they're really useless.
Yeah.
Everybody now has already formed an opinion, most people, how they're going to vote. And even those that have not decided, I don't think the debate is going to change their mind to vote one way or the other. There might be a few pull votes here and there, but most people have already formed the opinion. Nobody's changing their mind, and they're just waiting on the day to get here. The debates are just another opportunity to cheer or to be mad or whatever. The media gets some talking points to cover some things, but honestly, does a debate change your mind? Now, when we're down to 2, it might when there's 10 on the stage, but does a debate right now change your opinion no matter how it goes at this point? No, it's not changing. And even liberal media will tell you that debates are really useless when it comes to gaining votes or losing votes. It really isn't. It's just ratings. It's TV. It's also fundraiser. That's what. And honestly, whether there's the RNC or the DNC convention, that didn't change anybody's opinion either. They were massive fundraisers. She raised over $500 million so far. Think about that.
I would like to put a challenge out there to all of the media. Quit treating us like we're fools. Quit it. Give us news. Give us something to work with. And the arrogance of thinking that she can just lock herself away and never speak and say arrogance. It's not, because people are just going to vote for her no matter what. And a lot of it's this foolishness where they're treating us like fools. They come on there, they tell us whatever they think will sway us one way or another, make it just as bad as it can be. And they're doing the same thing, if not worse, no matter which network you're listening to. It's back and forth, and it's all opinion. It's opinion. It's not actual news. Quit telling us what you think we want to hear. Give us some news. Give us some facts. We're grown-ups. We're supposed to be able to make our own decisions. You know, do you remember back when we were kids, we'd watch Walter Cronkite? And what did he do? Oh, this is such and such night's news. He gave us news. And we can make our own opinion.
We got to remember who's paying the bills.
I don't care who's paying the bills. They need to be held accountable.
They do.
There needs to be accountability
because they're advertising dollars.
If they're going to lie to us, if they're not going to tell us the truth, if they're going to pass off their opinion as fact, there needs to be accountability. They demand it from anybody else.
Down to money. It comes down to money. It comes down to support.
Well, to all every one of us out here in Cornbread Nation, let's not fall for this junk.
Well, I agree. I did my own research.
Yes, sir.
I fact check it all, and that's including things that President Trump says. I go look it up. I go try to find the best information I can get. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse.
Well, not with that kind of attitude, it's not. But we've got the Cornbread Nation, and it's growing, and it's getting bigger.
Well, we have the power of turn it off, and that's the thing. Why would we listen to it? I don't listen to them.
Well, you know, if movements happen, dude.
They do.
And it's not going to go anywhere until somebody makes it go somewhere, until there's laws passed to make that kind of crap where they can be held accountable. I jump on there now and tell a knowing lie. Still to this day, they're telling the same old lies. Even Biden's doing it. You know, talking about, you know, when the supposedly Trump said, well, all those guys that died were, you know, suckers and all that kind of stuff. It's not what he said.
Well, sure, it's a lie, but how many people believe it?
Yeah, everybody on the left, I'm sure.
It's effective. People believe that.
Well,
and he
why is he not
and
held
it flows the other way too. It flows the other way.
And it needs to be held accountable. All of it. It needs to be. We're citizens of America. Why are we being lied to? This is Russia and third world country bullcrap on both sides. I mean, come on. Why lie to your base, to your people, your citizens? Quit it. And it's been going on for a long time. It needs to stop.
Well, because if you got a massive group following you, that they'll follow you to the end. Just look at Jim Jones.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of people followed him all the way to the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And we fixed it.
And at the end, those that didn't want to comply were forced to or shot. And that's the danger of a runaway government. I mean, that's the fear is unlimited power. So these things are supposed to be checks and balances that keep those things at bay. But
we're doing
for the most part, it's getting tougher. It's getting tougher. Yeah. There's no doubt. That's why I say that I love the program, and again, just letting people have that ability to let off steam, to say how they feel, because people are frustrated, and then just looking at things about what's being said or what's happening, just the news. I don't try to get into too much of what my opinion is, and I'll state it if it is. I'll say it's my opinion.
Yeah,
but some things are not the easiest to find sources on. You gotta be careful with it.
Well, I'm sorry to go off on a rant and rave on Mama Said tonight, but Mama and her wives are the only ones that'll preach to us like it is, and we can't listen to this crap anymore. And I'm sorry I said a four-letter word there, but it wasn't a bad one. But it's exactly what it is, and it's coming not just from one side or the other. It's coming from both sides. It needs to stop. And let's believe the people that we know we can believe, and let's not listen to the pandering. Let's fact check everybody, and let's go about this smart. And if you find something smart, if you bust somebody in something, send us an email, post it up here. We don't care. We'd enjoy to see it. Let's all work together. Let's see what we can do. I mean, we have to keep ourselves informed, because if we don't, we're stuck with this. Let's all help each other stay informed a little bit. If you see something that's wrong or something that ain't true, pass it on. I'm sorry. I'll get off my soapbox right now.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Mama said sometimes you got to get up on that thing.
You got. Sometimes you have to. I mean, sometimes you have to say those things with passion and to vent them out. I mean, you don't want to hurt yourself physically and mentally and anywhere else. We can't change everything. That's why we have to pray, and we serve a God who can. And they are not more powerful than the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So he is our hope, and that hope is not in a hope so kind of hope. Hope, it's a security. In the Bible, hope is security. It's a given, because it's based on a fact. And so go to your Bibles, because that's fact. You don't have to fact check the Bible. It's all facts. So people try to say it's not, but it doesn't change it. Don't you just love it too? I'll say this: when politicians try to get up and quote the Bible or tell a little story, and they don't know what they're talking about, they're trying to act like they do. And Christians are out there just shaking their head like, oh, come on, man. But other people are going, yeah, that's right. They don't even know it themselves. They all get a little more religious around this time of year. They visit the churches. They like to throw a little quote in there about the Bible and what Jesus would do and all this stuff. And they like to it looks like sometimes they think they're like preaching, and they really get into it. Well, just fact check them with the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to throw that quote out. What would Jesus do? I've heard that a lot, but I seem to remember in the Bible, Jesus had a fit of righteous anger and went and tipped tables over and run everybody out of the temple. Sometimes there's a righteous anger out there.
Righteous indignation. That's right.
You know, and what would Jesus do? Well, sometimes he's going to tip the tables over and run everybody out of the temple.
A lot of people couldn't handle if the preachers today preached like Jesus did in the New Testament. Some people couldn't handle it nowadays. Some preachers do. I'm not saying they're just like Jesus, but they lay it on the line. But they would get their feelings hurt if they really read those things that Jesus said and as he was preaching those things. I mean, he called people fools and stiff-necked. Liars. I mean, you could go on and on. I mean, nobody could handle that. Imagine a preacher getting up and going, "You bunch of liars." But he had truth on his side. He had points, and he had to just tell them what it was. I mean, because they were lying.
And there's some things that people lie about. Everybody lies about them. Give you an example. How are you today? I'm fine. Are you really? Oh, you have a good morning? Oh yeah, it was great. Or you having a good afternoon? It's great. What about last night? Did you have a good night last night? Oh, slept like a baby. How much of that's true and how much of it isn't?
Only the good Lord knows.
Questions. And if you've got problems or you got issues, shouldn't you be sharing them? Oh, well, and nobody wants to be a whiny. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying be a whiny. But that's stuff you take to God in prayer. You can't lie to him. He knows. You need to lay that at the Father's feet. Quit lying about it.
I think I think a lot of people are very private. I would just say, someone might say, "Well, pray for me." That's sufficient. Yeah. That's sufficient. You don't have to get into what's going on. Just say, "Pray for me."
Just say,
I do that. I do that sometimes.
That way you can still keep your privacy. I need some prayer.
Well, it's not just privacy. It is that, but also you can keep the story straight, because if you tell one person, by the time it goes through 20, the story's completely changed. We know we do that. So it's just easy to say, "Pray for me." Yeah. And if somebody comes up and said, "Did you say?" You can say, "No, I didn't say that. I said, pray for me." Nothing else. So it's really simple to keep that message controlled.
But you know what? If you lay it at God's feet in prayer, it don't go no further, ever. That's between you and the Lord.
I have found that there are very few people that are in your life that you can trust not to repeat something that you've asked them not to repeat. You could probably count them on one hand. Not even be able to count them on three fingers. There are people that will keep those and take them to the grave, but there are people that you have to watch. You got to watch.
Yeah. I know you would tell nothing on me, and I hope you know I would tell nothing on you. If you told me not to say nothing, I'd take it to the grave.
And in ministry, there's things I know I've never told my wife, because I said I won't tell anybody. And plus I want to keep her clear of anything. Those go to the grave. God knows about it. They know about it. I know about it. This goes to the grave. Yeah. I'll never
if I don't tell you to keep it between me and you, and you don't, I ain't got no reason to be upset.
The good thing is when you get elderly like me, you forget most anything ever. What? I don't remember that. Oh man, you forget.
I'll tell you what.
It's like when Mama said, "Did you do what I told you to do?" And you're like, "What did you tell me to do?" And they go, and then you're in trouble, because Mama said, "Did you get the dishes done? Did you do this? Did you do that?"
Oh, I got a good one thrown up here.
There's definitely that too.
Yes.
The town crier.
You know who these people are.
Hear ye, hear ye. Everybody gather around. I've got news to tell.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Have you ever tested someone?
Yes.
Don't tell this to another living soul. And you didn't care if it would or not. You just wanted to see if that person could be trustworthy.
Yep. I've done it. That's always interesting.
And can be very disappointing.
It can be. But you know what? everybody's human. You just know not to do it again. You know, who was it I told? I'm not going to call any. It doesn't matter. I told somebody now don't tell nobody about this, but you know, because if it gets out, it could cause me some issues. But you know, such. Oh yeah, it didn't take 20 minutes.
Well, and sometimes the people that say don't tell anybody are the very ones that go tell anybody anyway. So there are those people too. Don't tell anybody else when they go straight to the next person. Don't tell anybody else, but I'm going to tell you.
That's funny right there. I wish I could test people. I'm always afraid the people they tell will believe them.
Very true. Very true. Well, you got to make it
Right.
very small, you know.
Yeah, you got to do something small. Like I came into the bedroom the other day, and my husband had my brassiere wrapped around his head, looking in the mirror, going, "I'm Batman." You could do something like that.
Nobody's going to tell that, Rob. Nobody's going to tell that.
Oh yes, they would. Oh, that you know, women are gossip. You know, I caught my husband doing the same thing the other day. Okay, well, maybe they wouldn't. So it's just a thought.
My wife used to work for a bunch of ladies, and they got mad at her because they were sitting around at lunchtime and they would bash their husbands. Well, he's the sorriest man in the world for this, and he's the sorriest man, and he did this, he cheated, he did this. They get around to my wife would go, "Oh, I've got a good husband," and they wouldn't believe her. They say, "Oh, you're just saying that. You don't have a good husband." He goes, "No, I got a good husband. He's good to me," and
Wow.
they thought they just wouldn't believe her. And all them women got divorced. And of course, we're still going, you know.
Right. And you know why? And it's not just women that do it. I've seen guys do it.
Sure.
Why sit around and just bash your partner? That accomplishes absolutely nothing. Zero. If you have,
I think men gossip more than women, Jennifer. Just for the men, I hear it all the time. I think it's more, honestly.
But you know, men gossip too. She's absolutely right, and she agreed with me on it accomplishes nothing at all too.
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard. It's hard if you have something that is an issue with your partner. Sometimes it's hard to talk to them.
Well, first of all, if you have a problem in your marriage, or you have a problem in your church, or you have a problem with whatever, why do you go tell anybody anyway? That's outside the family. Work within the family. Work with God. You know, don't throw gas on the flame and make it worse. And that's all you're going to do. I always hate it when people burn their church down, not literally, but figuratively, with, you know, talking about troubles in the church, or this person's done this. And all you're doing is making people think bad things about your church. Just get that stuff handled. You know, get it. I'm not talking about hiding stuff. If something's bad going on, somebody needs to go to jail. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about there are those people that will bash their pastor, bash people. Don't do that. I mean, come on, don't do that. And I never liked it when I hear anybody bashing their, even if they say they're kidding, bashing their wife or girlfriend or mom, whoever it is. I mean, come on. I don't like it either way. I can't stand that. You know, I just don't like that. I can't stand it.
I think Jenny likes you. You see what she posted there?
Well, that could be right about different things. That could be right that I said some things about you, you know.
Well,
it does. I love Proverbs because it is a mother and father telling their son how to stay out of trouble and what to look for that would get them into trouble. And it is a great look when you look at it from that point of view, and you're looking at your son or daughter, and you're saying, you know, you're trying to give them words of wisdom to go out there. And of course, they're saying, you know, you got to watch out for these kind of people. You got to do this. Don't forget to do this, and stay clear of this. I mean, we're all doing that. And of course, kids go out and listen to some of it. Sometimes they don't listen to all of it, and they get a little bit of trouble. Maybe not like police trouble, but just trouble in relationship or whatever. And but you're trying to do that. You're trying, and it does. It's got the point counterpoint. What was that old news program? Both of them, I think, are deceased. And I used to love watching it. You had a conservative, you had a liberal, and they would have a point counterpoint, and I loved it because they would have a nice friendly debate over an issue, point counterpoint, and
see, we can't do that anymore.
no, everybody gets mad. Everybody gets mad.
I tell you what, that needs to be our goal. We need to find a liberal that won't get mad to come on this show and have point counterpoint. Let's see if we can revive that and have the odd man out of us be the middleman, keep everything straight.
Maybe.
You know, somebody from the left leaning that would be willing to come on here and just talk, not get mad.
Maybe.
I might too. Let's research. That would be a fun show. And no anger, but we keep it civil. Civility is essential, and when we leave, we all still love and pray for each other. You know, we may not work it out, but hey, you know, we can still have a civil conversation. I know you and I could with anybody, you know, because the bottom line is, I don't care who somebody votes for. I just want them to get out there and vote their conscience. You know, I want everybody to vote and vote their conscience. I would love to see even a 50% turnout in this country for election day. What's the average number of people that vote on a presidential election day?
I don't know that number, but I would be shocked if it goes above 35% this time. I could be wrong, but there's a lot of people just don't vote, even in an important election. I mean, sadly, in most of your elections, besides the president, sometimes you don't get but about 12 to 15% of the electorate to come out. I mean, some precincts may do a lot better in certain areas, but overall, it's pretty poor. But I don't know the numbers, and I don't want to throw a number out there that's wrong. And this one may, who knows, maybe we'll set a record. It'd be great. People get out and vote.
I'd love to see.
But see, here's the problem, though, Rob. Here's the problem. We got to get things fixed. Just today in Texas, they took 1 million people off the voter roll. 1 million people. 500,000 of those people are dead. And they were on the voter roll.
And
now, did somebody vote in their name? I have no clue, but they were still there. We got to get these systems cleaned up. We got to get. That's a lot. I mean, we're talking about 15 or 20. That 500,000 is what I see in the headline. 500,000 people, 1 million overall, that should not have been on the voter roll, were removed by the governor today in the state of Texas. That's a lot of people, a lot of names, a lot of potential. Georgia's had problems too. I mean, that's the part we got to get cleaned up, man.
And we've
now again, those things may not have had any bearing, but the fact that they're there tells you we got problems on a massive scale for the voter rolls, and the voter rolls have got to be. I mean, you got to keep those cleaned up.
Mama said clean your room too, and this is some room cleaning we got to do on these voter rolls.
A lot of housekeeping. There's some work going on with it, but it's slow because there are people that fight against this. They accuse the other side of cheating people out of their right to vote. But I mean, if they're dead, they're dead. I mean,
yes. And okay,
I want to look at that story more, but I did see that headline. That just breaking news earlier, and that just happened today. But yeah, and again, it's not the whole state. I mean, it does affect the whole state. It's probably certain areas. There's some areas that have really good voter rolls. I mean, really good. There's no problem. We do in our area. They're really good voter rolls. They're clean. I mean, they can stay on top of it. But there's other places that may not be that way. And again, I'm not the person to ask because I'm not there looking at it. But there are people that are, and so I just listen, and see where it goes. I just think we have to have good records. We have to have good who's supposed to vote, who's not, and, make sure people are not some way double voting out of state when that shouldn't be, and back into a state. Did they vote? There's been some people who went to jail, a handful, because
Yeah.
they had voter fraud, and there has been some people that have went to jail. So
I would like to understand why that we've got all this left leaning people hollering about voter fraud, making it hard for people to vote. You're making it more difficult. You're discriminating against us. All right. I don't have a driver's license. I can't get one. It's medical reasons. Dave, you got a driver's license?
I do.
I've got a state issued ID.
Okay.
It was real easy to get, just as easy as a driver's license. Okay. How many people in this country have driver's license or state issued ID?
Millions.
Why is that an issue?
Well, that's a long subject. That's a
Okay.
long subject.
In reality, should this be an issue?
It shouldn't be an issue, but
How
I
is
don't
that
want.
discriminatory?
I would say that I don't know that there's fact in it nowadays, but because in the past there were voter suppressions that occurred, that's something that is always going to be thrown out there, that you're trying to suppress votes, and it was a fact. And in the South, there was a lot of that occurred, and we have to live with that ugly past. Now, that may not be today, but a lot of people don't trust it because they feel like if you do this, then you're going to find some way to suppress my vote. I mean, to be fair, we have an ugly history with that in many states in the South, and so that's one of those hot button ones that really gets up. I get it. I understand it. I have no problem with all of us having to have that, whether it's a national ID system or whatever. But you're going to hear that, and that's not going to let up. That's going to intensify because of those past histories. It's just never going to fly in certain areas. Other places it may. That's just where we're at, man. That's a dividing line right there.
See, I don't see anything discriminatory toward having to have a state issued ID to vote.
I don't either, but if and here's the problem: if someone says a machine can be manipulated, and whether it is or whether it has or whether it can or whether it can't, I'm just saying, if we don't have trust in that, then others won't have trust in a system that says you can or can't, and they don't want to go down that road.
Okay. Would you say, I don't have the exact numbers. Maybe I can get the numbers here. I don't know. But what percentage of this country do you think has a state issued ID of some sort?
Well, every state has a state issued ID of some sort. And in our state, you have to show a government issued ID when you come in.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem in most places, but there are some places that maybe they accept other things. I don't know. The system should let us know if there's a problem, and if for whatever reason, we can call into headquarters and we can get the experts to guide us if there's a problem. But we have very few of them, honestly. I don't. There's less than probably, I'd say 5 or 6 in any election day, and sometimes none. But there may be, and most of them are easily fixed because they're just in the wrong place or whatever, or they just moved, and it's easy to figure out. I don't see a big problem with it in our area at all. 99%, well, I don't even say higher than that. 100% of the people come in with their ID. Now, whether they can vote or not depends on maybe some registration when they got done. There can be different things that's going on. But I have never had somebody walk up and didn't have some sort of government issued ID trying to vote. Never in the elections I've been a part of. So for me, anyway, I've never seen it. But that's not nationwide, and there could be issues in other places. So you got to remember the election laws are very different from state to state.
They are, but this is just it seems like every chance that we can get, we holler discrimination on every little thing. I didn't think that. I didn't even know I was racist until a couple of years ago. I thought I disliked everybody equally. I love everybody equally. I say that dislike. I was having an Archie Bunker moment. I love everybody. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care. I don't care where you come from. I love everybody. You're all my brothers and sisters in Christ. I hope, and if you're not, I hope something I say can, or somebody can say will sway you that way. But I don't care. I never have. But it turns out all of a sudden now I'm a racist because I'm white. Well, I'm only part white. I've got these. I come out speckled. See, I've got all these freckles and stuff. I'm mixed race. So I'm gonna let it go at that. I love everybody. What do you think? You think me having freckles could make me mixed race?
Well, I just think that the argument flowing the other way would be is you didn't come through what I came through. And so you can't understand how I feel or the fear that I have. And those are legitimate things. And so I get that. I'm a Christian. I love everybody. But because of those oppressions that occurred, that we're not that far removed from it, man. We're just not that far removed from it. And we've got a lot of growing still yet to do. And if we flow in the right direction and we do have great relationships and we do make it the right playing field for everybody as it should be. And that will lessen and lessen and lessen as opportunities are, for education, whatever. But I mean, from my childhood, these things were occurring from my childhood. We're not that far removed from it. It's too fresh. It's too close. And, that's a deep subject, but honestly, man, I grew up in the shadows of those things as a child. I didn't understand them all. Well, not everybody because they weren't alive, but those of us that are our age, we saw that. We saw the injustices, and although that may or may not have happened where we were, in some ways it did. It just might have been more as vocal or as demonstrative. If I could say it that way, it wasn't being acted out, but it was hidden, a little more hidden, but it was there. And it's going to take a long time before we get to a point where how you just said is how everybody will feel. And so that's going to be a part that's going to come in to that. And listen, politicians understand that and they press those buttons and fear mongering and all that. You can scare any group. You can make them afraid just by how you say something. It's not just one group doing that. It's everywhere, and it happens on every side of this. Another one is the threat that you're not going to get your check. That's been used a lot, and there is a fear out there among the elderly and the disabled and stuff that they say they want to cut your check out. That's real fear that happens. So it's used by a lot of different groups. And we can sit and we have this ability to reason it and say it. But there are those out there that we said are deceivers and manipulators and stuff like that. And it's just something we've got to live with. And we have to just navigate it. It's going to be there whether we like it or not. And we have to understand that. And you can't really understand, you can't look at it through your worldview, your lens, fully. You have to sort of look through the other person's eyes to understand your fellow man and how they feel about it. Now, we can come together and come to an agreement and, what's right. And this happens all the time. I have these discussions all the time with people from all different backgrounds, including my own. But I do need to understand why someone would feel the way they feel and the justification of that. Now it's being used by others maybe to drive us further apart, sure, but we have to understand that. We do. We have to understand that.
Well, the
Let,
whole
let me put it in another way. Let's say when
I'm
when our
already-
military
I'm-
went to Afghanistan or Iraq, and you tell a group of people, we're here now, and you can go to school, and you can vote, and you got rights, and you can do this. Well, they some of them believed that, and they started doing those things. Others said, if I show friendly to you, they're going to come after me. And what happens when you leave? When you leave, we're at their mercy. There are people in those nations right now that are still hiding in fear because they worked with us and we promised them certain things and we didn't deliver on those things. They live in an oppressed society. And so their fear is real. The fear for their very lives is real. And so the Americans, feeling it was from a good place, said, we're here now. You can do these things. But we were never going to stay there forever. That was not going to happen. So it takes a long time to change culture, a long time, not just decades. It can take a millennia, can take more. Culture change is very hard, especially depending on how deep seated that is. And so even though we're a young nation that has came so far with great ideas from the very beginning, but obviously there were injustices that occurred. And we don't have the history that some of these do, the length of time, and look where they're at. And we have grown by leaps and bounds, and we're the greatest nation on the face of the planet. But we also have to look at, even in this greatest nation, this great experiment of freedom, we have had injustices that have oppressed and hurt people greatly, and people turn their head to it. So we have to recognize that. And I think we're doing a better job of recognizing that and trying to understand that. But that's why I say your question is very deep. It's not easily answered because there's a lot of parts to it. And so to sum that up in a catchphrase, I get the point and I can agree with it, but how we get there is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time.
I could tell you how to do it. This is another thing that Mama said. Hey, Tammy, how are you? This is another thing that Mama said.
Sister.
And it's very important. It wasn't normally said in conjunction with, I'm going to snatch a knot in your butt. But normally it was said with a lot of deep thought. And Mama always told me, respect everyone. You do not know that person. Even the ones you don't know, give them respect.
We're doing good, Tammy. We're having this very deep conversation. I'm thankful that zeros haven't went up on the screen. People are listening to what we have to say, whether they're green or throwing tomatoes at the computer or the phone. I think it's a good discussion. I think that we're trying to be measured in it and level in it, but it is a deep discussion. And I just think that I don't know. I'll give you an example. One time, and I'm not going to say names, but there's a lot of businesses out there that are less than honorable. Yeah. And this is just to be a quick example of how I see this. And honestly, when you borrow money, there's some good lending institutions. There's some that are horrible. And they prey on the poor of society and the weak, and honestly, people sometimes that can't handle financing and finances and handle budgets and all that. So they're sharks, and their interest rates are, it's really a modern day. I mean, it's horrible. There's a lot of things I could say about it. But anyway, one year around Christmas time, we had some money that was coming after Christmas. My wife said, there's a few more things I need to get. And we were riding down the road, and I looked at one of those places, and they have this ad, and it never gets done, but it had 30-day interest-free note. I said, hey, we got money that's coming right after Christmas. We could pay this back within about 24 days, 23, 24 days. We knew when it was coming in. I said, let's check into it. So I went in, and I said, I inquired about the interest-free note. We set it all up, and I asked him what the fee was, and it was just a $20 filing fee. So I borrowed $600 for 20. It cost me $20 to do that. However, if you go past that 30 days, the interest, oh my goodness, you're going to get shellacked. So we went back in, or I went back in as soon as it came in. We went and we took the money, and I went there, and I think Lynn stayed in the car. I went in. I said, it shouldn't take long. I got in there, and I told the lady that I wanted to pay off my interest-free note, and the lady's trying to take a payment. She said, well, that'll be your payment will be. I said, no, ma'am, there's not a payment. I'm paying it off. And she said, well, let me calculate the interest. I said, there is no interest. It's a 30-day interest-free note. And the lady goes, we do that? And I said, well, your banner, I said, I just took it out, 3 weeks ago. And I said, you have a banner outside your door that still advertises for it. And so the lady turned to the office manager and said, do we do that? And the lady said, yeah, why are you asking? In a smart, kind of a response. And she said, this gentleman wants to pay off his note. And she gave me a look that told me exactly what I could do with myself. And she said, well, he'll have to wait. We'll have to get all the paperwork together and da-da-da-da. I said, I got all day. Paying it off today. Oh, it made them mad because they're not used to seeing that. Now, they don't make no money off of that. $20 filing fee, they don't make no money off that.
No.
Well, while I was in there waiting for them, they were putting me through the big delay to, hoping I would leave and decide to come back, and I'd forget. And, no, I'm camped out. I'm going to stay. I saw another family that was minority who was in there, and it disgusted me how they were treated. As bad as I was treated, they were treated 10 times worse. And when I paid the note off, I told the people I was sorry. And when I paid the note off, I told the lady, I said, when I leave, I said, I want you to walk back there and tell the manager of this office that I said, I will never do business with this company ever again. And that she needs to repent for how she's treating people. Because it's very obvious what she's doing. And they folded within about 6 months because they had horrible business practices and they treated people horribly depending on race. I'd never witnessed that before because I came from an area where that wasn't really prevalent because it just wasn't. Not that it couldn't be, it just wasn't. And it sickened me. It sickened me to see that. So sometimes we may not have been around that, but it's still there. So
yeah.
It made me really mad. I'll never forget it. But go into your inner city or the poorer areas, economically distressed, however you want to say it. It's just honestly poor people who struggle. Go into those areas and look at the businesses that are thriving and tell me what you see. And tell me that we have really came so far.
Okay. Well, I can't speak for everybody else. I know for me, I try to treat everybody the same.
Sure. I think most of us do, but there are some who don't.
Well, that needs to be fixed too. And maybe we can get it fixed one day.
Oh, it will be when Jesus Christ takes over.
That's for
never
sure.
happen again.
Yes.
We need to fix it well before then, but because of the sin of man, we're always going to have some problems. It's never be perfect. But under his government, when the government rests upon his shoulders, it will be. So that day is coming. Praise God. Praise God.
Guys, we're almost 2 hours in.
Yeah, you done got in trouble with your wife. You done lied on the screen there and said looking good. You came back. And Tammy just said amen.
What?
I think she was saying amen to something else, but it was funny that popped up right
Tammy,
in that.
You gotta be nice. You need some nice lessons.
Hey, before we go, because some people may not have been there this morning, and it's not long, show your little video. I mean, you did an underwater video. We got time for that, don't we? Let's show that. They might want to see some fish or some jellyfish or.
I'll hook it back up. You just hang on.
Okay, I didn't know it was going to be like a big deal. I thought you just had that like ready to go.
No,
I didn't know we was going to have to. I didn't know
I
we was
got
going to
to the disc in the computer.
I didn't know we was going to have to break rocks or anything, And
No, we ain't got to break rocks.
Yeah, Tanner says she wants to see. There's some fish. There's some And Robert, I have to tell you what they are. I only know what a couple of them are.
Well,
Tammy, have you ever seen
a?
Tammy? If you've never seen a dorkfish, he's going to show you one of those.
Yeah, I'll show you the dorkfish. I can do it.
I mean, hey, some of these people in here, they might not have seen that video. So it's only a couple of minutes long, 2.5 minutes. So
I got
you feel like you're 20,000 leagues under the sea with Lloyd Bridges.
It's not quite that bad.
It does have the sound, though. I mean,
it does. All right, you're gonna have to give me one second. I tell you, run a quick commercial. Just run a quick commercial. Let me run real quick.
Oh Lord, what are we gonna do with him? Hey, here at the Southern Fried Podcast, we've got a new morning show. Well, it's actually the same show, but we added a day. We're now on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 6 a.m., and we go till about 7, maybe a little after if we're having a really good show and we just want to keep it going for a few minutes, but it's usually about 6 to 7. We hope you join us. And as our tagline says, nobody really wants to get up, but since you're up, grab a cup of coffee and join us. Hopefully we can get you started on your day talking about a little bit of sports or news, have a little laughter. Everybody needs that in the morning, along with that caffeine. And hey, we're trying to get you awake. You might be trying to get us awake. So join in the chat. Let us know what's going on. Sometimes our best programs are from the chats that people tell us some things that are going on or remind us of some things or correct us on some things. Hey, all the above. We hope you join us on the Southern Fried Podcast morning show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Have a great day in Dixie, and God bless. The Southern Fried Podcast, among its many programs, also has a sports program. You may not have realized that. It comes on each and every Saturday night at 8 p.m., where we cover baseball, college football, pro football, fantasy football, and much, much more. We love to get on and talk about our favorite teams. For, of course, Cowboy Cook, it's the Dallas Cowboys, and for me, it's the Atlanta Falcons. We both like Georgia, as well as he likes Alabama, and we come together and like the Braves together. So join with us. Let us know your faves and what you like about what's going on with your team. We'll try to cover all of the NFL and as much of the college football world as we can, especially the SEC. Absolutely. Can't wait for the season to start. Join us each Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eventually, this show may be live, but for now, we're recording that, and we hope that you'll stay tuned and catch that program whenever you can. And get excited because the season is here. We're in the middle of preseason football, and the camps for the colleges are there, and we're ready for the games to begin. Join us on the Southern Fried Podcast sports show each and every Saturday night.
Yes, Tammy, I have a picture of a dorkfish. I will show it to you here in just a second. Okay. This is the only video that I had that turned out right because it was my first time with the GoPro. I didn't realize that it was going that fast. I've got to find a way to slow it down. So, there's some little wrasses right there. I don't know why it's running so choppy. As you can see, there's jellyfish. You see them all over the place down there. I am on, ain't I?
Yeah.
These are oblongs. They don't sting. These are some cute little wrasses there. There's a little crab hiding under the rock. There's the dorkfish's hand. There's the dorkfish. That's my brother-in-law, Tim. He went with me. I had to leapfrog the dorkfish. A little angelfish there. There are some in here that are really neat. That one. Let's see if we can get. This is a powder brown tang. These are very common in the fish store business, and they are a beautiful, beautiful fish. See if we can get a better look at him. There you go. He's got some blue highlights here that you can see. They extend past on his tails and on his fins. It's beautiful fish. I want one. Yeah, I had to follow him around for a little while. And then I had to cut through the rocks. There's a big old mullet. And that's an angel there. It's I can't remember the name of them. It's late, Dave. Crayon angel. I knew I'd remember. This guy here is a Christmas wrasse, and they are very pretty. This is a Fiji devil damsel here, I think. Yeah, you can see the yellow on the bottom part of him, and they're real black blue on the top. You can't tell because we're pretty good ways under right here, I think. Went down here. But the Christmas wrasse was a good find there, or fairy wrasse. They're pretty pretty. This was a neat find. It's a barracuda. And if you'll notice his markings, he's more silvers there. But I have to run him back down. So, see the jellyfish. The oblongs do not sting. You do not have to worry about them. It's the sea nettles and the big ones that you have to watch for. And let's see here. Little goatfish. There's the barracuda when I caught back up to him. If you'll notice, you can see the striping on him now. And then off he goes. And that would be the end. There we go.
How much total time do you have? If you could slow the other down, how much footage is there on that? The rest of it.
I have 6. I have 25 videos.
Okay, that's quite a bit.
Yeah,
So
I don't know how long they all are, but they're like all fast forward. I could probably show you a picture here.
You got a question, Rob.
How far down was you, and did you see any sharks? Okay. I know it seems like I was extremely deep there. I was not. I was rock crawling on the jetty. All I had was a snorkel. The furthest down I probably went was 10 to 15 feet. No, unfortunately, I did not see any sharks. I'm always looking for them because I think they're magnificent and wonderful, and I love seeing them. And so, yeah, people call me a weirdo for that, but it is what it is. I find them to be absolutely amazing. They're my favoriteest ones.
Which shark is your favorite?
Whichever one I'm looking at.
No favorites, huh?
No favorites.
Did you see Charlie Tuna down there while you were there?
No, I did not. I was looking for him. I'm going to try to ease this thing forward and see if I can snap. Oh, there's the Fiji devil damsel. That's a pretty good shot. It went too far. This thing is running so fast. You can see right here on the colors on this one, maybe.
That's pretty.
Those are both devil damsels.
Why are they called devil damsel?
They're called Fiji devil damsels because they're so mean. That was a bicolor angel right there. That was not a devil damsel. Oh, come back to it. That's a crayon. This guy right here, if I can get it stopped on him. Okay. Angelfish are pretty distinctive. If you look at their fins, they kind of make a U. This is a bicolor angel. No, it's not. It's a blue angel. That is a blue angel. You can see their fins here, and then the fins at the top, how they kind of make a cup going back, and they'll have streamers on the top. That's an angel. He's bigger than a devil damsel. Oh, I came up for air. Oh, what was that? I'm trying to do this. It's another angel. I don't know how well this is coming up on y'all's screen, but that's a beeliner. Good bait.
I'm just waiting on the fish that's holding the sign that says "We'll work for food."
There's a good shot. Yeah, you can see the angels and stuff around, and the devil damsel over here. They're a little deeper. This is a beeliner, and of course the little jellyfish right there beside him. So yeah, I've got some.
Oh.
Okay. Well, we can go through them like this until I can figure out how to slow them down. That's my finger. Okay. Oh, what was that? There was a couple of times where there were right in my face. I've got some video in here somewhere of the little angel attacking my fingers. There's some wrasses there. But you never know what you're going to see down there. That's the whole bottom end of it. You never know. And that's part of the fun. Yeah, just really. Let's see, this one here is only. I got 25 videos, but this one here is only 13 seconds long. But I think that's at double time speed. So I was trying to figure it out, Dave. I did not do a good job on this. On the one where it was slow, I did a good job.
Well, you're out of practice.
It was when you watch them, you're like, oh, slow down. But you know, I've got it, and I'll get it slowed down somehow. We're going to wait for Chris to get out of the hospital. So you know, it's what it is.
He's the expert.
Yes, we will creep through them. The crab was really neat. There was a big crab. He is in this video here. Oh, there he was. Let me see if I can. I'll show this last little thing here. You're going to have me an expert on the screen sharing. This crab right here was just hanging out between the rocks. And I very carefully eased up on him. Well, come on. But you can see his claw there. He's got his claw down. He was just easing along until I got the GoPro just too close. I was easing, and then poof, he was gone. Just that quick. He went from there to poof, and he was gone.
Well, can you imagine if you're a crab just easing along and then somebody like you comes along? I mean, what would you think?
I probably would have run like heck too.
Well, he says, I got a couple of dorkfish up here coming towards me. I got to get out of town.
Probably exactly what he was saying. That's probably exactly what I would say. Hey, get the dorkfish out of here.
Don't you know this is a no dorkfish zone? I mean, come on. Fish are territorial.
Yeah. They are. The angelfish and the devil damsels are my favorite because I've actually had these stupid damsels come out and attack my mask and just thunk, 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 thunk. You're like, get out of here, you little snot. Thunk, thunk, thunk. There was one of the angels. I put my hand down on the rock and I was pulling myself up. and over, and it was attacking my hand. I shoot him off, and he come right back and get in my hand. So fine, I just grabbed the next rock and pulled up. Well, I didn't pull up far enough. Now the little snot's attacking my legs because they're back there in his area still. He wasn't stopping. I find that humorous, though. You know, you shoo him off with your hands, and then he starts attacking your legs. I'll show you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool though. I'm glad you appreciate you showing that.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it, dude. It makes me want to go back down there. You have never heard of half of the names of these fish. Well, the tangs and stuff, keep in mind, Davey used to hang out with me at the fish store. We had a fish store for years there. It's called Get Tanked. And a lot of these fish that we see here in Panama City, they actually sold in the fish store. Like the powder brown tangs, the devil damsels. There's actually dominoes down there too, Dave. Domino damsels. You remember them, I'm sure. Convicts, all these different kinds of damsels. There's the yellowtail, the blue and yellowtail. You see them all down there. So, yeah, you remember us.
We solved the world's problems in that store. They just didn't listen to us.
Yes.
We were doing this show in that store, just nobody saw it but us.
Right.
All these things we talked about there. We didn't know it. We didn't know it. That was school for our future podcast. We didn't know that.
No, we didn't. So, but
in fact, we've talked about stuff in there we ain't even brought up on here yet. We got pretty deep in the geopolitical thing. I mean, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, and
and it was all good till somebody brought a snake in. Then I didn't care for that. Some big
I didn't care for spiders, but I still had to put up with it.
Yeah, tarantulas and Whenever they started feeding the mice to the snakes, I was out. I didn't want to be around that.
Yeah, it's time to go then. I can understand that. But I didn't care about all that. It was just the spider. I can handle the snakes. I just couldn't handle the spiders. That's you got to draw the line.
What's that song? Spiders and snakes. What is that song?
Well, it's lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
No. There's another one. There's another one. It's okay.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you.
And we're not talking about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. All right. You done got me watching video. I'm ready to go back to the ocean now. Now I know how well the camera does. I'm ready to go back. I can't believe it did that good. Some of the footage I got is just as clear as a bell. What do you mean yuck? What you yucking about?
I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to hear about it when we get off the air here. You got to get off here and tell all the cats good night. And
yeah, I got to feed my fish, and I got to
get your beauty sleep.
I don't need none of that. Oh, she said snakes and spiders. Yeah,
that was disgusting. Ugh.
Fish, though.
They had some lizards, too. Ugh.
Do you remember the lizard that they got in there over at the other place? It was short and fat and looked like it had a bald head, and they named it Robert. Right up until
I don't think so.
It laid eggs, and they changed its name to Roberta.
I think I heard y'all talking about it. I don't know that I ever saw it. Once y'all changed stores, I wasn't able to come in that much anymore.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't very nice.
Something about the. I thought there was I know you had more room and everything, but I really thought the first store. I don't know. There was something about it. Kind of lost it when it moved to the new store.
It did.
It was just something was different. I don't know. I don't know if I can explain it, but there was a lot. You did a lot of business out of that little store. I realized there was a lot of space constraints, but y'all that was neat. I like that store.
But there was a lot of space constraints there, and they say location is everything. Well, at this point, lack of location was everything. We didn't have room to do near the stuff that we wanted to do. But, we cranked some business out of that other store too, out of both stores. So it was a very interesting time, and we enjoyed it. But I don't want to do it again. I can't do that much time cleaning fish tanks anymore. Well,
No.
everybody, glad to have y'all on here tonight. Y'all like and follow. Y'all got me yawning now. I'm ready to go back to the ocean. It's ridiculous. You ready to go back with me? You gonna get out in the water with me?
Oh no, I'm
Someday?
not doing that.
Huh?
No,
I wouldn't
no,
let
I'm
you
not.
go.
I'm not. I'm
You
not
know I
much for
wouldn't let you
underwater. I'll be glad to watch your videos, but I'm not. I'm not going.
go. Okay. Okay. Some people are born with good taste. Others have to develop it. I just keep telling myself that.
I don't want jellyfish rubbing up against me, dude. I just.
Dude, the oblongs don't hurt you.
I don't
The
care. I
oblongs
still don't. I don't want to rub it up against me. You can be out there and get all icky and gooey and whatever else, and
don't get icky and
uh,
gooey.
things snapping at you and everything else. I don't like that. Yeah, I do like the mountains. Yeah, yeah. I don't. You just what you said. You don't ever know what's going to swim by.
That's right. He likes the mountains. So does Jenny. Jenny likes the mountains too. I don't have to take her up to the mountains. Or go with her to the mountains. Too much sand at the ocean.
Yeah, it gets in
Oh,
everything.
there's sand up there on them mountains too. It's pre-ocean sand. It hadn't washed down yet, but it's coming. Mm. All right. Well, so we got Cook is laid up. Is he home yet?
Yeah, I think he's at home.
Okay.
It was an ER
Chris is
visit.
laid up for a little while. So we're
Chris
going to
is
ask
out. Chris
everybody
is
to
out of
keep them
action.
in the prayers.
Yeah, and
And
we're gonna have to be careful. Me and you got to be careful.
yeah, one of us go out. We dropping like flies, Dave.
I know.
And you're older than me.
And we're not careful. Uncle Jeb will be on here, and then the podcast will be over. I mean,
Oh my Lord. That'd be canceled.
by the way, you need to look at. The last thing I'll say, you need to look at Cornbread Nation. That's all I'll say.
Why? Is Uncle Jeb on Cornbread Nation?
Just take a look at Cornbread Nation when you
I'm
get a
gonna
chance.
look at it right now. You know I am. I can't wait. I got all the patience of nobody.
Jen says she'd be happy to stand in. Tammy, Candy Toast at Cook fell. Very bad fall. Nothing broken. They thought his arm was broke. He's laid up. He's hurt. He's going to be okay, but he's bruised up real bad. I guess it happened last night or something. He had to go to ER. So pray for him.
Where's it at? There it is.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we're up to 61 members. Hey.
Yeah. For those listening, if you have not joined the Cornbread Nation Facebook page, go there and join. Be a breadhead.
Hey, there's
We are
Bill's
growing.
in here.
Do what?
Bill's in here.
Bill's in there. He is.
Oh, I'm looking. Oh, there's our spread shop on there.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm
too,
looking
Tammy.
for?
No, although that's good. Spread shop. One of the newest members.
Miranda Tibbetts. That's my little girl. Jason Howson, Amber Keith, Rick Graham. You talking about the Barney picture?
No, look who joined. Last 2 days.
August 13th. That's been a while back. Will Talmadge, Kimberly King Buckner, Eva Brown. Are these people?
I'll send you a
I'm not seeing
screenshot.
it, though.
Okay.
Let's see, people. Why don't you just go to people? There's Uncle Jeb joined on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You know what that means.
He's watching you.
He's watching you, both of us. We're going to have to watch what we're saying on here now. We don't want to get him fired up, I'm telling you. Oh, my goodness. If we get him fired up, he'll be down here every day. Oh, man, what are you thinking? Did you tell him about the Cornbread Nation?
He slipped in, man. He slipped in.
Uh,
He's behaved himself. There's nothing. He just joined.
I wonder if we ought to make him a moderator.
Ooh. No. Can't do that.
Fine. Well,
I just wanted you to know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Everybody have a blessed night. Thank you for being here for Mama Said, political talk, and everything else that we could get in. Fish talk.
Oh.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We've been going for a good while.
Yeah.
Mama would be proud of us.
God bless you. Like and follow or subscribe and help us push them numbers up, and we'll get out, increase our reach. We like that. If you want to share it out, you feel free, knock yourself out. We like it. Push it out just as far as it'll go.
Go to our new store. There's I ordered something from there today. I think I was the first one. Find you something. There's different prices. There's some that's going to be a little more, some that's a little less. Find you something, support it. It'll just help the podcast. Also, it'll help advertise for us. And be looking for important interviews to come. We'll have much more about that.
Should have major update tomorrow.
Yes, major update. We've been sitting on this for a few days, and we will hopefully tomorrow evening be able to talk about that more. So
it'll be later probably.
Yeah, it'd be later. Some of them might not catch it till Wednesday, but everybody have a great night. Don't forget morning show Wednesday, hump day news that night. And who knows what might pop up between now and then. So
absolutely.
Have a great night. Thanks to everybody.
And we'll see you Wednesday morning.
Don't forget the music.
I'm my fingers on the button.
Okay. Good night.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seats. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show.